I did my accessibility project on Flowers Hall on UNA's campus. Flowers Hall is the gym for UNA athletics. It houses basketball, volleyball, and I think even graduation. So it's not just students coming into this building, it's also the community, which is one of the reasons why I chose to evaluate it, because I knew it was more community based, people coming into than other buildings on campus. The first thing I noticed when evaluating Flowers Hall was the parking. Of course, if you know UNA, parking is one of the worst things. It's hard to find. So there were about 12 spots available in front of Flowers Hall, and 3 of those were ADA accessible parking spots. There definitely needs to be more parking. Considering the location, the only other parking lots are across the street, and the street that they would have to cross. It does have a crosswalk at the red light, but it's a main highway, so it is pretty busy. The other parking lot is down below Flowers. It has several parking spots, but there's no entrance at the bottom of Flowers Hall. You would have to walk up several flights of stairs. And since there's no entrance, those stairs are outside, which if the weather is bad, that can be a problem, especially in the winter when it's been snowing, maybe ice. The ice is bad on these steps. You have to be very cautious. So that is something that needs to be considered. When you get up to Flowers Hall, the doors themselves, there are several different doors you can go through. The ones in the middle are actually the ones that have a button where you can push and the doors will open. I actually didn't know this. I've always just entered on the sides and didn't really know that they had this. So I think that's accessible for Flowers Hall. When you get into the building itself, they do have ramps where you can get into the court, where the court is. And so there is that, so they can sit on the main level where the game is being played or graduation or whatever the event is. However, to get upstairs, it's only stairs. So they would not be able, a person with a disability would not be able to go up to the second floor to sit. There's no elevator. So if they did want to go, they would have to have a lot of help to be able, because it is 2 flights of stairs. So that's something that needs to be considered. The Flowers Hall is also used for classrooms. The classrooms itself, the majority of them are where they're flat to walk into. So if a person is in a wheelchair, they would be able to get into the classroom. However, the desk are with the chair attached to the desk. So that limits who can sit in that chair if you're not able-bodied maybe. And especially with it socially distanced, there's not as much room in the classrooms because everything is spread out. And so they don't already have desks ready for people with a disability that would need to, that couldn't get into a regular chair. Specifically, room 303, which is where ours is, our classroom is, it's more of a lecture hall. And so each row of stairs goes down, or each row of seats goes down one. And so you walk downstairs to get to the bottom. It's not a ramp, it is stairs. And so that limits where a handicapped person, or like with a person in a wheelchair, would be able to sit. So in that classroom specifically, they would have to sit in the back of the room by the door. And there's not much room there. There is a desk right there by the door. However, these are also connected. This chair is connected to the desk. But they're like more of a row. And so it is harder to get in and out of the rows. Sometimes even a able-bodied person may have trouble. You can't really get past, if people is already sitting there, you can't get past them as well. So it's not that accessible of a room. So I think overall Flowers Hall would definitely need to make some revisions. And so I would consider Flowers accessible, and I would not consider it universally designed or fully inclusive. They would definitely need to make some big revisions to the building itself. Now, Flowers is one of the older buildings, so that is needed to take into consideration. So it does need renovations. But I think if they do, or if they are able to change some of the things to make it more accessible, that they could get to universally designed or even fully inclusive. Maybe not fully inclusive, but definitely they could get to universally designed.